Hi, I'm Anne, and for my video presentation I will be distinguishing between direct costs and indirect costs. First thing we need to do is define what a cost object is before we go any further. So our book defines it as anything that managers want a separate measurement of cost for. And I will be using Apple as like my company to be talking about here. So examples of cost objects by Apple would be like individual units such as iPods or like computers and stuff. So you could even get a little more detailed with, like, say, iPods by talking about different models. So that's another cost object area. Different models of the iPods, like the Nano or the Classic or the Shuffle or the iPod Touch, anything like that would work. Alternative marketing strategies are also different cost objects. So those would be like, what are the costs involved with the sales in stores versus online, things like that. And yet another one would be geographic segments of the business. So like, what are the costs of like the stores in the United States or in Europe or Japan, just different regions, things like that. So we now know what a cost object is. We'll be moving on to the definition of a direct cost, which is a cost that can be traced to the cost object. And what I will be using for an example will be a single iMac for my cost object, and we will find the direct cost of the plastic for the keys on the keyboard for that iMac computer. So I made a diagram to illustrate the direct cost and how it can be traced back directly to one iMac. So say we have 100 iMacs and $50 of plastic goes into making those 100 iMacs. So if we divide the $50 by the 100 iMacs, that'll give us 50 cents per iMac, which is the direct cost related to a single iMac. So now we will define an indirect cost, and that is a cost that relates to the cost object but cannot be traced to it. So Apple has many costs from its manufacturing plants, which include utilities, property taxes, depreciation, employee salaries, just a bunch of things like that. Apple can't build an iMac without incurring these costs, so the costs are related to the iMac. It would be impossible to trace a specific amount of these costs to one iMac, so these are considered indirect costs of a single iMac. Yet, all of this can change with different cost objects. So, the same costs can be indirect with respect to one cost object, yet direct with another cost object. So, the cost of the plant and equipment and depreciation, property taxes, and utilities are all indirect costs of a single iMac when the iMac is our cost object. Yet, these are all direct costs if our cost object is the iMac manufacturing plant. So if management wants to know how much it costs to operate the iMac manufacturing plant, the plant becomes the cost object. So this concludes my video presentation on direct costs versus indirect costs. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.